Hi, CJ here for another video of passionate sharing about recovery tools, lessons, and real-life experiences from my mental health journey. I am not a medical or mental health professional, just here today to share more helpful information about my journey. Just a reminder, if you have not created your personal safety plan, please check out the link below and in the description to learn more about staying safe, because emotional triggers or darkness of depression can set in at any time and potentially during this video. Okay, let's get started. And remember, you're not alone. Hi, CJ here. Hey, today I want to talk about what happens and what happened in my journey when the doctors stated, there's nothing more I can do for you. There's no more tests I can run. I have nowhere else to look. Oh my God. You mean I gotta live like this? I don't want to live like this forever. There must be something they can do to help me. They've missed something. God, is this in my head? Am I making this up? If there's nothing wrong with me, I guess I'm just going to have to suck it up and endure the pain in these issues. I need more information. This can't be right. You know, I could probably go on, but I think you get the point. It's very hard to hear there's nothing more that can be done for you. By the medical doctors and their specialists, I had post-concussion syndrome, something that you learn to cope with and you learn to survive with. I just found that so difficult to endure. The depression was incredible. The thoughts of, I don't want to live like this. The things I enjoy have been taken away from me. I've lost my freedom. All the stress, anxiety, pain, and these limitations just continue to bring on more of me going into a very deep depression and having suicidal thoughts. Well, that's the sad part. Now, the good part. The really good part of all of this is just a conversation with a fellow camper. I've talked about this in a couple of my videos. How one person can come into your life and change it is just amazing. You know, the universe sent her to me in some way, and I listened to what she said. I think you have PTSD. You need to find a therapist that does EMDR. PTSD I'd heard of. EMDR, what the heck is that? Never heard of it. Don't know anything about it. Well, that night at the campfire, we had internet access, so I looked up EMDR. I looked up PTSD. Oh my God. PTSD symptoms are almost identical to post-concussion syndrome. I've been diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome for the last few years. Nobody's ever brought up PTSD. EMDR is this therapy method used to treat PTSD. And they started to use it on soldiers and have learned a lot about it, and it's been really successful. Oh man, that camping trip was the best day. September 2017. What a monumental day. I had hope. I had hope again that I might get better. We might be able to fix what's wrong with me. I might be able to work again and be thriving. I might be able to drive again. Oh my God, if I could just drive again. Wow, this was all really good news. Mental health and physical? I'd heard that if you hold stress, it's really bad for you, but I didn't understand it. until I started reading more about PTSD. So my general doctor helped me find a trauma therapist. I'm really very, very lucky. I understand that now. The first therapist that I went to was a match for me. We immediately seemed to have that, yes, I can trust you. I gained so much confidence in her right away. So in working with her and talking about the accident and her asking me questions that no one had asked me about the accident before, it was very easy for her to diagnose and see the PTSD that wonderful woman did that we were camping next to. And she also diagnosed me with major depressive disorder recurrent. That was kind of hard to take. Depressed, I'm really majorly depressed. It was okay for me to be labeled with PTSD, but depressed, oh man, that was hard. But I got to do this therapy. I got to get better. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a try. PTSD. I didn't know that much about it. I became an absolute sponge. I was reading. I was going on YouTube. I was still having a hard time reading at this point, so I did a lot of YouTube. That's why I'm making this channel. Had I found somebody that had a journey that made this sense to me with post-concussion syndrome or something that has the same similar symptoms, and I had learned about EMDR, oh my God, I would have gone that route and gone away, stepped away from my medical doctor so much quicker. But as I learned more and more about it, I'm like, this triangle starts in your brain. It's a triangle. I'm like, what? This is really all in my thoughts? This is really all in my head? Well, in a way, it kind of is, but not really. So what happens is, if we don't process our emotions completely, it'll fragment the way I understand it. And obviously, I'm not the medical professional. I'm just somebody who's lived through it and done a lot of reading and a lot of listening to YouTubes and TEDx's and information off of the internet and done some serious textbook type reading. But what we learn is that whether you know it consciously or unconsciously, you start ruminating, these thoughts start going through your mind about the trauma and the afterthoughts of the trauma. I may never be able to work again. And of course, the trauma itself. And these thoughts will automatically kick off increased sensations or pain in your body. And I became hypervigilant about everything. Am I safe? Am I safe? And all of this circle then increased my anxiety, increased the pain. And as I had more pain, it's never going to get better. As I stayed, it's never getting better. My brain kicks off the pain again. As I kick off the pain, my anxiety goes again. The circle continues. Is that me? I couldn't control it. I tried, come on, relax. You're going to get better. You're going to push through this. I couldn't get myself back to work. That's when I knew there was something different this time. It was just more than my body could handle. It says, you're not going to ignore me this time. You need to process some of these emotions. And I knew from all of the experiences, I was in this triangle, this circular effect, and I couldn't control it on my own. You had to stop the triangle. You had to stop the pain, or you had to stop the thoughts, or you had to stop what's going on in your body, all the chemicals that go on when you're in fight or flight mode, when you're in pain. You have to stop that. Well, you can't stop that with just your thoughts. You can't say, I'm going to stop that. Forget about the past. It doesn't work that way. So the thoughts, the emotions, the body sensations, again, this triangle, and then it just keeps going. Is it possible after listening to this you're thinking, do I have PTSD? Well, there are certain criteria you have to meet in what's called the DSM-5 to be diagnosed with PTSD. I was diagnosed with PTSD, but I say you could be experiencing this triangle. You're not fully integrating your emotions, and you need to stop the cycle so that you can get feeling better too. Through PTSD counseling, very quickly, while we were using EMDR for the processing of the emotions of the accident, I learned about all these childhood traumas that I'd had in my past. Memories that I never had are just coming back into my head. I'm like, oh my God, where is this coming from? Suppressed emotions throughout my life these memories were coming back to me, and so hard to endure. The reason they were hard to endure is, one, all my physical pains were coming with them. The headaches, the dizziness, some of that had been improving. And after we had been doing EMDR for a session, I'd typically have a bad week. And then it started going like this. I get better, I get worse. I get better, I get worse. And that is part of the processing. Because once you start down trying to break the cycle, what you have to do is integrate those thoughts back together. Integrate. That's a key word for me now. You have to have all three. So there's three components that get into this triangle. You have your thought. So let me give you an example of a thought. I think the elevator's gonna fall to the basement and I might die. The emotion. I might die. I don't want to die. Oh, it was sad. It was hard to take. The body emotions. My chest just hurt. Heartache was what I was feeling. I was feeling stomach pain. My headache was getting worse. Right there while I was doing EMDR on just one little component. So to integrate those two, we're feeling all of them at the same time. And it got easier to think about. The elevator might be falling to the basement and I might have died that day. But I was in a safe place. With EMDR, you're in a safe place. I didn't die. We focus on where you are now, not where you were. But you're feeling the thought. You're feeling that emotion in your body right now. This is today. That's not the past. So it's an integration of those emotions in your body right now is what I've learned that EMDR is. I've been talking about EMDR and this process. I want you to understand that EMDR is not the only therapy method that I have experienced in this journey. My therapist is a very experienced trauma therapist and has many different tools to utilize. I'm going to be talking about all these other methods in future videos. If you want to learn about those and you just want to join this journey that I'm talking about, make sure and subscribe below. So let's get back to EMDR and this circular event. Now, one of the things that I picked up really quick in my research of PTSD and EMDR is it fixes things and your pain is gone very quickly. It can happen in just a few sessions. Wow, that wasn't the case for me. Something wrong with me? Am I not allowing myself to get better? Well, I know I want to get better. So what's going on? Why am I not getting better? I learned about a term, and it's becoming a pretty common term, called Complex-PTSD. You start working a memory, and then all of a sudden you've got lots of new emotions, and they just continue. I call it layers of onions. I'd peel off one layer, and it's like this whole new layer. It was like, is it ever going to go away? And we learned it was the childhood traumas that I was feeling from the accident. So we had to go back to childhood and deal with that trauma. As we were going through that memory, other emotions were happening. Other memories were coming. It was like, oh, just stop. There's so much. There was a year of EMDR and so much pain, so much emotional learning, so many memories I had stuffed. But I knew that had to come out, because as we were going through all this pain, I knew my symptoms were getting better. And that was so reassuring. It was so rewarding to know that some good was coming out of all of this. Now, of course, she had to explain this to me over and over. It might get worse before it gets better. She gave me the tools I needed to stay confident and allow myself to just process and try to integrate these feelings when they would come to me, not in therapy. And your therapist will train you as well on how to deal with so much coming at you once you start EMDR processing. Now, I have a video. If you have not yet seen it, please go check it out. It's called the Personal Safety Plan. When these emotions first started coming out, I didn't have a personal safety plan, and I got into a really dangerous place. You can become so overwhelmed and feel so hopeless and not want to live. And the personal safety plan is really needed to keep you safe so you can process all these dark emotions that need to come out to be integrated. And the way I understand it, once they're integrated, once you're able to feel the thoughts, the emotions, the body symptoms all together, that thought, that pain gets on the same wire into your brain, and it can be filed through your sleep like it's supposed to be. That's what processing is. You hear the term process your emotions. You need to allow yourself time to process. You need to allow yourself the time to feel and just let yourself cry, scream, get angry, feel the shame. Whatever you need to do, whatever that emotion is, along with the thought and the body sensation that you're feeling at this time. The key to EMDR, when you're in that safe environment, you're in your therapist's office, or in today's world, you're in your home on the phone with your therapist. My therapist is still doing EMDR via mental health. And I'm going to share that in a future video. I'm going to share with you what it's like, what it was like for me to be going through an EMDR and processing a certain emotion. These are the types of things that you're going to learn about on this channel. So make sure and subscribe below if you want to hear more and you want to be notified when there's new learnings that I'm sharing with you. Okay, EMDR is really easy of a therapy type protocol. It seems like magic. How can my therapist just doing this with her finger or a wand help me? Well, EMDR does work on both sides. It's supposed to engage your left and right brain sides at the same time, which makes it easier for memories to come out. That's the way I understand it. And like I said, you're putting it all together and integrating and feeling it all in the present, not in the past, in the present, all at the same time, so you can file it, and it can just be a memory. A memory that doesn't bring back intense body sensations or intense emotions every time you remember that memory. I know that it's just a memory. That was the past. I'm not living it now. That's the difference. So when doctors tell you there's nothing more I can do for you, and if you're living with symptoms like headaches, dizziness, irritability, can't sleep at night, fatigue, can't handle stimulating environments, if you're living with any of these types of chronic issues, just stop for a minute and see if you're potentially been stuffing your emotions. Am I somebody who's never allowed myself to really feel my emotions? You may have been suffering from childhood traumas, which has, I think, becoming more commonly known as complex PTSD, because it's over and over and over, and so it's very complex to find that memory. Like PTSD, when I was diagnosed with it, we knew it was March 2015's accident. We knew that. With complex PTSD, you don't know where the exact point is, and that's why it is complex. But just know it may not be a medical issue. You may need to take care of some of your past and the way you coped with your emotions in the past. So don't give up. Don't think you have to live that way forever. Consider that you can get therapy and get help. I'd love for you to join in on this journey and join me on this journey by putting comments below. Subscribe so you can put comments. And just remember, you're not alone.